the exposed Mosquito hook drop shot versus the Texas rig EWG drop shot. I showed in a recent video the Mosquito hook, nosed hook, to where the point of that hook goes back into that worm to be more weedless, and people asked me, why not just throw a Texas rigged drop shot worm like that? There is a lot of pros and cons, guys, so let me first explain. If you see me throwing a Mosquito hook on a small finesse worm like this, this is a size 1 BKK DSS drop shot worm hook right here. As light as I go is the size 1, all right? That is the most universal size. I will go down for really tiny worms to 2s and 4s, but if you're going to pick one, the size 1 is your deal, and that's great for 4 to 6 inch worms. I will go up a little bit bigger on those bigger worms, but I'm nose hooked here, all right? Weedless, this is 6-pound line. What do you think's gonna get more bites? That tiny hook right there, and you need to start thinking of hooks just like line diameter, or this hook right here. This happens to be a size 1, okay? Still a very small EWG hook, but realistically, there's 3 to 4 times the mass in here. So when this drop shot hits the bottom, instead of that slow hesitation, neutral buoyancy, you have mass here. So the back end of the worm's gonna drop down. So it's not as finessey. It's not gonna get as many bites, and it's also gonna drop to the bottom faster. Once the weight hits, it's still gonna hesitate, and it's gonna drop to the bottom, whereas the Mosquito hook, when it hits, it's going to levitate, okay? There's not a bunch of drag behind that worm. When it hits, it's going to be very neutrally buoyant. This, of course, is going to get more bites. But what happens is, you're going to lose pulling power. So if the fish is in structure or cover or in heavy grass, you're typically going to see the EWG, the Texas rig style drop shot, more often if I'm around heavy cover. And the reason for that is I have probably 2 or 3 times more pulling power. This happens to be an 8-pound leader that I have right here for the California Delta, is what I was throwing that on. Now, does that mean I couldn't use this on the Delta with the 6-pound and the finesse hook? Yes, I can, but I am inheriting more risk at that point. The lighter you go, the smaller you go, the more bites you're gonna go. If I'm throwing a drop shot, I'm typically looking for more bites, or that's all they want. That is an insurance rig, in my opinion. I'm ensuring I catch fish or get lots of bites with a drop shot. It is really finessey, all right? So I don't want to give up on the most finesse possible presentation I have unless I have to. So that's when I scale up. You have, your Texas rig drop shots, your power drop shots, which is heavier up from there. And then you have your Bubba shots with your flipping hooks, much heavier drop shot weight, flipping style on a bait caster. I'll get into that in another video, guys. But your exposed Mosquito hook, that little size 1 all the way to a 2, even a 4 if you're throwing like a 3-inch worm, a really light line is going to get you the most bites. Yes, you give up pulling power, but when it hits the bottom, it's going to remain very neutrally buoyant and hover there just like a jerkbait stopping in the middle of the water column. That rig will get you guaranteed more bites than any finesse Texas rig setup, but you are giving up pulling power. So you ultimately need to decide what's the best rig for that situation. But that's your difference between your exposed hook and your EWG style. I'm Nick, the Informative Fisherman. Thanks for watching.